And now to some new developments tonight on the civil lawsuit accusing rappers Sean Diddy Combs and JAYZ of. The accuser has now dropped the case.
Okay, so last hour when we left off, you had asked me, did Tony Busby respond to JAYZ?
Yes.
And he did. So
Here's the scoop that's got everyone buzzing. A lawsuit accusing music icons JAYZ and scene Diddy Combs of some shocking behavior has just been dismissed. And not just any dismissal, but one with prejudice, meaning it can't be brought back to court in its current form. But what led to this decision? Is it as simple as the allegations being without merit, or are there more strategic moves at play? Let's break it down. To understand the full story, we have to go back to where it all began. The lawsuit was filed by a woman identified only as Jane Doe, who claimed that in 2000, during the height of JAYZ and Diddy's careers, something horrific occurred after the MTV Video Music Awards. According to her, she was taken to an after-party where she found herself in a disturbing situation involving both JAYZ and Diddy. The suit initially targeted Combs, but later added JAYZ as a defendant, accusing him of being involved as well. It seemed like a scandal that could shake the music industry to its core. 2. Here's where things start to get complicated. JAYZ, whose real name is Sean Carter, was firm from the beginning that these allegations weren't just false, they were completely fabricated. He didn't merely deny the claims, he went on the offensive, calling the lawsuit an attempt at blackmail and accusing a lawyer behind it, Tony Busby, of masterminding a shakedown. Carter publicly declared he wouldn't settle or pay a dime to make it go away, and he stuck to that stance. Meanwhile, scene Diddy Combs, already facing a mountain of legal issues, also denied the allegations through his legal team, labeling them as part of a pattern of baseless claims from people seeking quick payouts. While JAYZ was able to secure a swift resolution, Combs isn't so fortunate. His name is still tied to numerous legal battles, and he's currently behind bars awaiting trial on other serious charges. But that's a whole other story.
Blistering statement. JAYZ accuses Jane Doe's attorney of trying to blackmail him. He said further, quote, "These allegations are so heinous in nature that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one. Whomever would commit such a crime against a minor should..."
Let's circle back to JAYZ. The lawsuit against him took a dramatic turn when Jane Doe's credibility began to fall apart. In a December interview, she admitted to having made errors in her recollection of events, even suggesting she might have misidentified some of the individuals involved. That's a tough blow for anyone trying to convince a court of their case. Combined with what JAYZ's legal team described as a complete lack of solid evidence, this revelation marked a major turning point. JAYZ's attorney, Alex Spiro, didn't hold back either. He called the allegations outright false and praised JAYZ for refusing to back down, saying, "By standing up in the face of these heinous and false claims, Jay has done what few can. He pushed back. He never settled. He never paid a penny. He triumphed and cleared his name." It was clear that this wasn't just about saving face for JAYZ. This was personal. Spiro emphasized the emotional toll the situation took on JAYZ's family, particularly his wife, Bianca, and their 3 children, something he claimed JAYZ could never forgive. The timing of the lawsuit also fueled his anger. It was filed just before his daughter, Blue Ivy, was set to have a major moment at Asterisk, the Lion King Asterisk premiere, which JAYZ saw as a deliberate attempt to pressure him into settling. Instead, it only made him more determined to fight back. 4. As for Jane Doe's legal team, they made a significant move by voluntarily dismissing the case, and not just without prejudice, which would have allowed for a potential refiling, but with prejudice. That's a big deal because it essentially closes the door on the matter in its current form for good. While the exact reasons for this decision haven't been made public, speculation is running wild. Did they realize the case wasn't as solid as they thought, or was there some external pressure that led them to back down? Curiously, the dismissal hasn't quelled the rumors surrounding the case. If anything, it's fueled even more intrigue. Some are now wondering if JAYZ's firm stance and refusal to settle were backed by something more significant. After all, it's not every day that someone faces a high-profile lawsuit like this and comes out completely unscathed. Could there be more to this story than what's been revealed? 5. While JAYZ celebrates what he's calling a victory, scene Diddy Combs remains in a much darker place. He's facing over 40 lawsuits, many of which involve allegations of misconduct spanning decades. On top of that, he's currently incarcerated and awaiting trial on charges that could potentially send him to prison for life. His legal team has dismissed these lawsuits as nothing more than sensationalized attempts to grab attention, but with so many accusations piling up, it's clear his legal battle is far from over. What's particularly intriguing is the contrast between how JAYZ and Combs are handling their respective legal troubles. JAYZ, through sheer determination, or perhaps something more calculated, has managed to distance himself from this particular scandal. Meanwhile, Combs' situation seems to be spiraling further out of control with each passing day. It almost feels like their fates are moving in opposite directions, and people can't help but wonder if there's a deeper connection at play.
So, civil complaint, simply allegations, needs to be proven in a court of law, but if true, it could rise to the level of criminality, and, we'll see what happens if the DA looks and investigates. He, of course, is more than annoyed, would be an understatement. He has a family, and he has a lot to protect, including his brand. But to the extent that he's saying, hey, come after me criminally, that could be likely. Why do I say that? Because in New York, and what's alleged in this complaint is forcible compulsion. What that means in English is that it's saying that he held her down.
A lot of times lawsuits are like playing poker. Like even when you feign, that you have strength, it could be that you have some weakness in your case. So Busby's never going to say that he doesn't have the evidence. I mean, Busby's always going to say he's got the evidence. He's always going to say, oh, we're going to look at multiple other people, we're going to do all this, because he wants to put that fear into that.
Adding to the intrigue are whispers of potential new lawsuits. While the case against JAYZ has been dismissed, some speculate it may not be the last time his name gets dragged into legal drama. Could other accusers come forward, emboldened by the media attention this case received? Or are there hidden secrets waiting to be uncovered? For now, it's all speculation, but in the world of celebrity scandals, where there's smoke, there's often fire. And let's not forget Tony Busby, the lawyer at the center of it all. Known for his aggressive tactics and high-profile cases, Busby isn't exactly backing down quietly. While he hasn't commented on the dismissal, his past statements suggest he's not afraid to stir the pot. The question now is whether his strategy of filing multiple lawsuits against powerful figures has backfired, or if this is just a temporary setback in a larger campaign to hold influential people accountable. Only time will tell. 7. Following the dismissal, JAYZ's public statements make it clear he feels vindicated. He's called this a win, not just for himself, but for anyone who's ever been falsely accused. The system has failed, he said, criticizing what he sees as a lack of accountability for those who file baseless claims. The courts must protect victims, of course, but with equal responsibility, they must protect the innocent from being accused without a shred of evidence. Strong words from a man determined to control the narrative. However, while this chapter may be closed for JAYZ, the story is far from over. The dismissal has only sparked more speculation about what's really happening behind the scenes. Meanwhile, as Combs continues to face mounting legal issues, the spotlight on both men and their diverging paths shows no sign of fading. 8. So what's next? Could JAYZ's apparent triumph mark the beginning of a scandal-free new chapter, or is this just the calm before another storm? And for Diddy Combs, is there any hope of turning his situation around, or is he destined to face the consequences of years of alleged misconduct? The answers remain unclear, but one thing's certain, this saga is far from over. As new details emerge, the lines between truth, rumor, and speculation will only continue to blur. 9. But just when you think the dust might finally be settling, whispers about JAYZ's alleged deal with the FBI have begun to spread like wildfire. And let's face it, this kind of juicy behind-the-scenes drama keeps people hooked. So what's the deal with this rumored arrangement? Could it explain how JAYZ managed to escape this scandal with his reputation intact, while his longtime friend, Combs, seems to be sinking deeper into legal quicksand? Let's break it down. JAYZ's swift and decisive victory in the lawsuit has left many people scratching their heads. Sure, the case against him had its flaws. There were inconsistencies, no solid evidence, and that damaging interview where Jane Doe admitted to being unsure about some of the details. But even with a shaky case, it's rare to see someone of his stature come out of something so cleanly, especially when the accusations were as serious as this. And that's where the rumors come in. Some are suggesting that JAYZ might have had some help from powerful allies, specifically the FBI.
It's interesting because, obviously this civil suit was coming for a while.
Yep.
And there was some talk between Busby and JAYZ's lawyers. I think both Busby and JAYZ's lawyers are really alphas.
To do incredible things, but he has a very specific style. And there's a lot of people who don't like that style. And Judge Torres is one of them. He's now twice kind of taken the reins and tried to take control of the narrative of cases by putting on sort of these preemptive press conferences. He did it with Mayor Adams, and he did it now with JAYZ, where he goes to the press and essentially puts on a...
I anticipate that we're going to start filing lawsuits, and it may not be big names at first, but we have a long list of names, and you might imagine in situations like that.
It's really much more of a loss for the legal team of JAYZ and Diddy.
Why would you say that? Because the judge was kind of harsh to Jay-Z and Diddy in her response?
Yeah, this is sort of like, you know, if a child asks you for something and you're trying to like teach them a lesson, you say, no, not right now. You know, go be good for a little while, then come back. And actually is balancing the public's need for information and the defense's need for information so they can prepare for trial versus the effect that this will have on the alleged victim and her psyche. And obviously the world knows that as soon as her name is revealed, everyone is going to come down on her, from the media to her, to his attorneys, to the social media. You're going to get it from all.
JAYZ is speaking out this morning after the civil suit accusing him and Sean Diddy Combs of was dropped. NBC's Chloe Malas is here with.
Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. For now, JAYZ is riding high, and his public statements make it clear that he sees this victory as a win not just for himself, but for anyone who's ever been falsely accused. Make a truth prevail for all victims and those falsely accused equally, he said, striking a tone of moral authority that's hard to ignore. While his critics may question the sincerity of his words, there's no denying that he's come out of this ordeal with his reputation largely intact, a feat that's becoming increasingly rare in today's hyper-scrutinized celebrity world. Meanwhile, seeing Combs' situation couldn't be more different. As he prepares for his upcoming trial, the weight of the allegations against him is becoming impossible to ignore. While his legal team continues to dismiss the accusations as baseless and opportunistic, the sheer volume of claims and the seriousness of the charges have left many wondering if this is the beginning of the end for the man once known as Puff Daddy. If Combs is found guilty, the consequences could be devastating, not just for him, but for his entire legacy. 13. Here's where things get even more interesting. Some are suggesting that Combs' current predicament could actually work in JAYZ's favor. With Combs facing such intense scrutiny, any lingering questions about JAYZ's involvement in this mess could easily be overshadowed by the drama surrounding his former friend. In other words, Combs' downfall could inadvertently help JAYZ maintain his polished image, allowing him to distance himself from the controversy and focus on his next moves. But what will those moves be? Will JAYZ use this moment to double down on his business ventures and philanthropic efforts, further solidifying his status as one of the world's most influential figures? Or will he find himself pulled back into the spotlight as new rumors and allegations surface? After all, in the world of celebrity scandals, nothing stays quiet for long, and with so many unanswered questions about his alleged deal with the FBI, it's only a matter of time before the speculation begins again. 14. And speaking of unanswered questions, let's not forget the other players in this story, from Jane Doe and her legal team to the many individuals affected by this saga. There's no shortage of people with their own stories to tell. Will they come forward with new revelations, or will this case quietly fade into the background, leaving us to wonder what really happened behind closed doors? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's keep the conversation going. Thanks for joining us, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more celebrity news and analysis.